Hello friends and welcome. I'm Sara Lihz and I have a birthday card for all the introverts in your life. This is the Spa Day die set. It's a new one from Pixidustdesigns and it has tons of really great dies in it. I am going to make this tranquil bathroom scene by stamping a little tone on tone. I grabbed a stamp from my stash that I felt kind of looked like wallpaper, and then a color that I felt was calming. I actually stamped that twice. Then I have this piece of white cardstock that is 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 of an inch. And I am just gonna hold the purple piece up to it. That's gonna be my wall. And I'm making a little mark with my pencil so I know where my floor starts. And actually, this step is entirely unnecessary, but if you wanted to stamp directly onto the background, this is how I would do it. So I left it in. I am ink blending in a very light brown ink down at the bottom, and then I will stamp on it with a wood grain stamp. Okay, there's lots of places that have wood grain stamps. If you don't have that, it's actually really easy to use like a fine liner pen or a brown pen and to add a few lines and swirls that kind of feel like wood grain. But since I have a stamp, I'm going to use it. I'm going to go ahead and add this piece at the very top of my Misty. It's a 6x6 stamp, and so it barely fits. So I really needed to keep that masking tape on there if I was going to put that background directly onto this same panel. I am using some distress ink, and I'm just going to stamp that down actually a couple of times just to make sure I got a really nice impression right where the tape meets it. And that finishes up my flooring. Since I did these separately, if I had just gone ahead and ink blended half of it and stamped half of it, I would have covered up all of that line. So that would have been the easier way to do it. But I just wanted to show you what your options are. Then I'm going to put a bathtub and then this bathrobe, a very tranquil something, into my scene. And I have grabbed a stamp from my stash that says, "Have an awesome birthday." I don't know about you, but I am deeply introverted. And so on my birthday, I kind of just want to be left alone. I would love a spa day. I would love a day to just read a bunch of books and not have to like cook dinner for everybody. I'm just saying. To create the rest of my scene, I am going to add a bathtub in this bathrobe, and I love that these are fairly straightforward to put together. I will say though, the top of that bathtub, just check your direction. I don't know what the optical illusion is, but I absolutely in my head had that all backwards. And then I was having a day. I was filming this after my kids had gone to bed, and I'm like picking things up with the back of my hand accidentally. It works out. This is why I need a spa day though. I cut the base of the robe out of a very tranquil pattern paper. It's a light blue with some organic U shapes in white. So I did a white sash, and then there's like a little piece up by the collar that you can add that I've also done in white. And then I'm going to arrange these onto my card. I'm tucking the robe back behind the bathtub in my head. It's like maybe it's hanging up on a hanger or something. And then I put just some really thin foam tape on the bathtub to pop that up a little bit so it didn't end up kind of wonky, because the feet are flat on that white panel that we ink blended. But then I have the purple cardstock, and then I have the cardstock from the robe, and I just didn't want things to be all cattywampus. I have cut the bubbles out of some white glitter cardstock, and I am adding them onto my card. There are 4 of them, and I like them really in sets of 3. So one of the bubbles I overlapped with the sort of trail of bubbles that's on the tub, and then the other 3 I've created that visual triangle. To create some extra interest, I have used a scalloped rectangle to cut my card base, and I cut it out 3 times. I have this white glitter cardstock that's sort of thin, and I wanted to make it a little sturdier. So I took a piece of scrap cardstock. One side is clean and white, but the other side had a bunch of inking on it. Not a problem, you're not gonna see it. And I glued those together. And then I took the third piece to my scoreboard, and I didn't really measure it. I just wanted to score it between 2 of the scallops. It's about 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch. I'll fold it back, add some glue, and then line those up and glue them together just at the flap. I've added some 1mm foam to the back of my spa panel, and I will add that onto my card base as well. A little bit of wet glue gives me some float time, so you can see me sort of lifting and adjusting. The scallops are harder than a standard card base just because I don't have that visual margin memorized in the same way. But that finishes up our card. It's quick, it's easy, it's calm and tranquil. I hope you've enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the Pixi Dust Design channel, and I will see you next time.